It's 10:56 on the 21st of the 6th, 2023, and as usual, I'm documenting in my documentary as a creative artist in the town of Tralee, or from the town of Tralee, regarding the circumstances that are of hate crime and repeat offenders that are enemies of the state. It's quite serious. I would think that adults that are beyond the age of reason would ever irrationally disrespect where they have been prospering. Excuse us. The issue of individuals that have been prospering via damages to local bird life, flora, fauna, and my spiritual purpose, my spiritual toolkit, as I refer to it. Those people that have been benefiting and that have been disrespecting are, I suppose, putting things, all up in the air and risking success and progress. There are people that find it, a possibility to renege on any of their values, ethics, principles, and I suppose they have themselves convinced that they're able to continue their cycle of offence, where they haven't provided reparation or restitution. Now, I'm tolerating hate crime in a democracy, and there are people that are in my proximity, and they know themselves that they're debtors, and they're not excused by any means of the imagination by any blasphemous acts against any faith practice that they've already been in very dangerous breach of. So these people, I suppose, I would say most would consider it a little bit cheeky, to say the least, what I'm tolerating. First and foremost, in a democracy, and these people have difficulty with my royal patronage and my royal ancestry, but whether they like to come to terms with it or not, there's going to be a problem for what they've been offending. So, but at the basic, fundamental level of a democracy, we have a constitution, and that constitution and my rights have been disrespected. And that has put people that practice with the Hippocratic Oath and their integrity with the Hippocratic Oath in a compromising situation. And there have been developments in medicine from my spiritual purpose. We have COVID-19 and we have Brexit. So that has saved people's lives and has prospered people's lives. And I'm of sanity and sobriety advocacy with two decades. And there are people in this community that are in my proximity, and unabashedly, I might say, and quite modestly, they're quite tempted to cause trouble where they have debts to be paying. And that puts, unfortunately, the safety of everybody at risk when these people that are disrespectful to where they have been luxuriating themselves from stolen wealth of mine and benefiting from, developments as a consequence of my recovery advocacy. These people that are cheeky enough to be in my proximity, and they're of hate crime, they're of hate offences, hateful offences, and that's the most debased level of the emotional Richter scale that anybody could be confronted with. And there is no rationale with people that are only consumed by hate, greed, the deadly sins. So anyway, those people that think they're in control of the media and turning out the old spin doctor stories that aren't exactly reliable and that are misconstruing the origins of all sources of progress in this situation, and think that they're in a position to be cheeky enough to pass my door with the attempt of discomfort or unrest or disharmony in their agendas, and not to be addressing their dues and their debts. That's astonishing. I find that astonishing. And it doesn't really show a good caliber character either. And it really doesn't make for little girls' lives to be safe, or it doesn't help any of the practitioners that have benefited from my contributions to society. So those that pass my door and that shouldn't be passing my door. In fact, the authorities are fully aware, or the authoritarians know, that these people that are ignorant enough to be considering themselves healthcare providers, whether they realise it or not, they're probably ethically, morally, technically struck off, blacklisted. You know what I mean? So these people are thinking they're above the law and they can go where they like and what they do, what they say, whenever it pleases them. But no, you see, there's a little thing about the law that it doesn't tolerate ASBOs offending married mothers like myself. As of the 30th of the 3rd, 2015, mother to Garrod McCalligan and the lawful legal spouse, married since 30th of the 3rd, 2015, and experiencing very dangerous property fraud by people that can't mind their own homes and have a problem minding their noses in other people's business. So that's what we call a violation of privacy. So there are issues about people that are putting the reputation and the integrity and the safety of society and little girls' futures at risk, thinking they're going to walk past doors and almost think they're in a safety net with further crimes against my child and I without addressing their debts. I don't want children of the future paying or carrying a cross, and there's no way in whatever context or comprehension that any individuals would be possibly capable of praying to a God where they have defecated, disrespected and blasphemed and defamed. These people are not comprehending the damages that they've done to faith practices, and they think they're going to pray their way out of more damaging behaviour. So for the best interest, or in the best interest of the Garda Síochána, those ASBOs that are in my proximity, living off my land and legislation and spending money they don't own and putting children's lives at risk, it might be safe for them, to keep the proximity at a distance. There is a right that I have, and there is also a hierarchy that I also have, that every citizen of the European democratic society is entitled to. Mental health practitioners that think they have a disposability option might be a little bit afraid of disrespecting the source of clean water these days. Those that think they're of healthcare provider status might be careful about the damages that they've done to the Hippocratic Oath before they cause any more problems with any more faith practices or obligations that they have to my royal protocol. So there's a problem going on. And there isn't anyone with courage or bravery. And there's an award up in Dublin with the President's office, and it's called the Courage and Bravery Award. And I find it astonishing that I'm here in this short-term accommodation with the past 5 years, since 2019, and these people have still caused harassment and not addressed their shortcomings, failures or failings and defects of character, like we all have to do. We all have our defects of character. So the point I'm making is, those people that are walking past my door being cheeky, you might remind yourself about a few fabulous developments that have been happening. You might also remind yourselves of the dangers as a consequence of brazening it within proximity where it really isn't of etiquette or courteous conduct. People thinking that they're disrespecting bird life. Oh God, I have so many concerns for nature and the Canary Wharf Initiative, especially as my bloodlines dictate. I have huge respect for the heavens and the constellations, and those people that are disrespecting the Canary Wharf Initiative, putting the sustainability ethics at risk with bravado or bulldozing onto property, then sustainability and environmental ethics and values and beliefs aren't very present or successful. So those people that are confusing themselves on the rungs of the ladder, or that are confusing themselves with people's hierarchy of needs. The state has a debt owing to my name, and that's a very expensive tooth that is missing or absent from where it should be because of cheap flooring, while I'm suffering injuries of ASBOs in society. Now, if the Garda Síochána think that's safe for little girls to be supported or to be suffering the consequences of, then I have concerns for people that are in my proximity offending royal protocol. My royal ancestors of about 6 royal titles that I hold are not in support of ASBOs that don't respect the basics of constitutional law. So those that are in my proximity right now, expecting to pounce and prey upon my privacy and my rights or my royal protocol, you must be deluding yourselves. You must be suffering from such a dangerous mental illness that you can't discern right from wrong. And if the European Union is aware of this occurring to a mother and a child missing from my care, and farm fraud occurring, and the Canary Wharf initiative, no less. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I'd like to remind people of my spiritual status, and these people that are of blasphemy with about 5 faiths. Do they think that it's safe to be transacting any developments with individuals that don't have the law on their side, that don't have remit, that don't have proper ethics at play? So seriously, how many stupid behaviours of ill action do I have to tolerate before people cop on to what is right and what is wrong? There are children's lives at risk because of ASBOs. So if the European Union wouldn't mind, there is legislation that people are benefiting from as a consequence of my 2 decades of recovery advocacy, and the United Kingdom is fully aware of the debts that it owes me. So if there are people of bad faith practices, it might be wise and careful and sensible to stay on the right side of the law and be careful of the side of the street that you're dirtying and defecating on, because people have been doing really dirty things on my land in Ardfert and Kilflynn. It's really disgusting what's happened in Southwest Ireland. So in the best interest of justice that has benefited from my recovery advocacy, it would be really sensible, intelligent and wise to have a read of the Constitution, just the basics of the Constitution, and consider the debt of each constitutional right that is, pertinently present in my circumstances, simply due to hate crime and ASBOs being accommodated with a mental perception of some very dangerous facts and actions that aren't considered upright. So if everyone can stop wearing the blinkers and have a good strong cup of coffee and address all the problems that they're making, like intelligent people, provide solutions. People that are causing more problems aren't making that debt cross any lighter. People deluding themselves about their capabilities with other people's property or patronage like mine, and living off my legislation by means of academic fraud. I don't know if they understand the dangers that they're bringing on themselves again. So the European Union, there are issues in County Kerry, as usual, Southwest Ireland, by a clique, a collective, that are not conscientious citizens, disrespecting their ambitious aspirations for sustainability, while messing and disrespecting the basics, the fundamentals of constitutionality. It's a sad sign of the times.